Welcome. What is in store post-COVID? Getting out of Plato's cave. If you'd like to get unstuck and break the cycle of being stuck from the pandemic, then you're going to want to listen today. You're live with Missy Gifford from Aroma Freedom Clinic and our Friday podcast, Biohack What is Holding You Back. Don't forget to watch all the way to the end because I will be giving away a free gift. But you'll have to wait until the end. That's right. So I have a special guest today, Vicky Wu. If you don't know Vicky Wu, you need to. Number one, she's one of the funniest people I've ever met. We're going to have a podcast one day about how every time she goes on vacation, her husband is trying to kill her, and we are not kidding. But Vicky,
not on purpose, though. Not on purpose.
No, never on purpose. Not only does she have an amazing sense of humor, she is one of the most brilliant marketing people I've ever met. Been in business for 35 years, and Vicky is Aroma Freedom Clinic's marketing department. So for all you small businesses or big ones, but especially the small business, having a marketing department like Vicky Wu working with you is going to save you so much money. So much money. We could do a whole podcast on all the scamming that is going on the web since the pandemic, because everybody's stuck on the web and all of a sudden everybody's a marketing expert.
Yeah, they have 1 week of experience and right.
Exactly. That's exactly it. They took some course and now they've become a marketing expert. There are more people that I know that have paid $5,000 or $6,000 and didn't get anything from it. And you and I have been together for quite a while, and I don't think it's added up to that amount.
Hasn't added up to that yet, although I expect it will, because I think you're going to be around for a long time.
That's
and
right.
I think you've probably already gotten more than those other people did.
Oh, Vicky, we could go on and on, about if you go online to get your website developed by one of those website developers, let me just tell you now, scam, no, let me say again, scam. Vicky Wu Marketing. Always go with a trusted name. Never go with somebody you don't know. Don't do it. And you can always find a trusted name, Vicky Wu Marketing. Okay, do I get some credit for all this pumping up I'm getting?
I think you must. I'm pretty sure every time you say my name or the word marketing or scam that I'm supposed to pay you or something. So we'll see.
How about $10?
Just start a bill, just a tab. Get it going.
All right. What's in store post-COVID? That is the big conversation today. Texas opened up on the 8th, which was Monday. And I have to tell you, I was very excited about getting out of the cave and not having to wear a mask. I was so thrilled when I heard our governor talk about the fact that we were 100% open and no more masks. And he believed that everybody's destiny was their own. And if you wanted to wear a mask, you could wear a mask. You got to love Texas for that. They put your destiny in your own hands. Love it. But I got to tell you, Vicky, what was frightening is I went out and nothing changed. So I went on Monday and I couldn't wait to, be free of the mask. And I'm a firm believer in what the science and the statistics have taught us. In Texas, they've been very good about that staying at home was actually did more damage than going out. Nobody wants to hear that because they're listening to the news, but granted, you wouldn't go over to your grandparents' house, and if you had the flu, you wouldn't do that. So, yes, you take extra precautions, but the total lockdown of people staying in their homes, they found caused more of a spread than anything. Number one, people weren't exercising, people weren't moving around, people got depressed, people got complacent, people didn't eat well, people drank more, anxiety, depression, mental health, all these issues got worse, which made us sicker instead of made us better. So
yeah, I think they would have done better if they would have done kind of a harder lockdown for a shorter period of time. Rather than at first they were like, well, we'll just cut back a little on how many people can be in a store. But if they would have done it a little bit harder for a short time, instead it seems like it's been more relaxed, but for a longer time. And I just don't think that balance worked well for stopping the spread or for people's mental health.
Well, no, it didn't, especially not when I was getting on an airplane sitting right next to somebody that's touching me. I mean, so there were so many things that just didn't make sense. You know, you're right, it didn't make sense. But here we are, COVID is over. That's what I want to keep telling people. You know, you've had your immunizations, COVID is over. You've got to step into the COVID is over zone. It's not going to go away on the news, the National Enquirer. I hate to tell you, but the news is 99.9% full of it. I really loved it, the storms here in Texas, when they said how all of our grocery stores were empty. We had no gas, and there was another storm coming. It was 78 degrees 4 days after the hell week we went through. So, but it's all about ratings, and I really wish people would not watch the news. I always say, if you want to know what's going on, go to the source. So if you want to hear what, you know, the president's saying, then go listen to the president talking, not what other people are saying, because it's just like gossip. And so if you got to go to the source, hear it come out of their mouth. And even then you got to be careful and make sure their words and their mouth line up, because people can put words literally in their mouth these days.
Yeah. And don't go with social media either, because they're even more full of it than the news.
Oh my gosh, social media.
And don't be one of those people who says, well, I researched it, meaning you looked on someone else's social media profile and saw what they said. I think we all have to get more accustomed to doing our own real research and going and finding not what Joe Bob said, not what some guy said on his blog, and not what Missy posted on her timeline, but do a little bit more hard research and look at the source you're looking at as well. So, yeah.
I agree. I couldn't agree more. I completely agree with you. You've really got to pay attention to the source. That is the biggest issue I think we have going on, is people are not paying attention.
Interestingly, I did read a news article about this topic we're going to talk about, post-pandemic, what happened in 1918 with the Spanish flu. So when we get into our discussion today a little bit more, I'll share with you some of the things I read in that article based on research that they did about what happened after that pandemic ended, because I'm like, this is interesting and it fits into our topic.
I love it. We need to know. That's it. So getting out of the caves, how much weight have you gained since the pandemic? I mean, I'll share. I don't, it's not good. So I've gained, are we being honest here, or are we just kind of being honest?
I gained a little pudge. I don't have a scale. I gained pudge.
Yeah, I gained 30 pounds. Mm-hmm. Yeah, 30 pounds. But I'm the type of person that, you know, I don't eat any sugar. I don't do this. I don't do that. And if I don't work out, 5 hours a day, I gain weight. So I'm built like a rhinoceros, I said. Now I'm built kind of like a bulldog, because when you put, 40 pounds on top of the amount of muscle I already have, that puts me weighing in at about, are you ready? 214 at 5'6". I kind of feel like a bulldog walking around. But, working out just as much. I said that to my husband, his son has the fastest metabolism ever. They don't gain any weight. I go, what do you think it is? And he goes, just generally the lack of movement, the everyday movement you were doing. You're just not doing it as much. We sit more than we ever have before. And I go, well, yeah, that's got to be it, because nothing else has changed. I'm still working out. I'm still walking. So it's the little things.
All the little things add up.
Yes, the little things add up. So let's talk about living in the caves and what it has done to you over the past year. I don't know if everybody remembers when COVID first hit. It was like this time of community. People were so empathetic to each other. They were so kind, blah, blah, blah. 6 months into it, everything changed. People started getting grumpier. Mental imbalances became stronger. People began to drink more, eat more.
You're ready to take your spouse that is now working from home with you on a vacation so that you can, accidentally off them. No, not really. But there's that too. More people working from home. I think you mentioned it at the beginning. But more people working from home. The kids are home from school. Everybody was on top of each other all day, every day.
Well, yeah, it was a nightmare because, I've homeschooled my son, so we've always been together, all of us. So we've learned to coexist with each other. But when you don't know that, and most kids are in school all day, and then they have sports, they have this, and the parents are both working full time, you really don't see your kids very much. I remember when my son was in school, he liked to stay and play after with the kids. So, I drop him off at 8 o'clock in the morning and pick him up at 7 o'clock at night. You have dinner, he takes a bath, and he goes to bed. You see your kids for about an hour and a half. And then on the weekends, you're generally, when they're little, you've just got a lot going on. And the problem was just that people didn't have any synchronicity, right? And not all of these parents are very nice people because they haven't taken care of what's under the hood, which is what Aroma Freedom Clinic is all about, is getting rid of that implicit memory that causes you to trigger, causes you to say things you don't want to, causes you to be the type of parent you don't want to. And so everybody just became a big pressure cooker. And then you have parents that unfortunately really don't know their kids very well. They really don't, because how much time do you get to know your kids in an hour and a half a day? And everybody was just doing the best they could, most of them. And then here you go.
We were all being cavemen.
Right. Yeah. Thrown into the pot, and you don't even know what's happened to your psyche. A lot of people are feeling the anxiety, the depression, the eating, the drinking, the boredom, the lack of social interaction, and what it's done to the chemicals in our brain. You don't know where you're at until you're not there anymore.
True.
Right? Because the brain, when brain chemicals shift, it's not something that happens overnight. The brain happens, unless something shocking happens, but the brain is a very slow process in changing. And I only learned that from antidepressants, like taking them, and then, the antidepressant works, but what takes time is the other parts of your brain balancing to the drug. And that's where a lot of problems come in, the side effects. But it also taught me during those times in my life on how the chemicals in the brain really work. It's not really what people think. It doesn't happen that fast. It's actually very, very slow, because when one part of the brain changes, then the rest of the brain has to change. And that's when you get real change. Like I said, when you first take an antidepressant, it works because it goes into a cell where there's trillions of little cells, and they figured out which cell to target. And by targeting that cell, that stops happening. That's what they've proven. So the problem is not, does it work? The problem is the rest of your brain going to say, okay, right?
Or like, whoa, what's that?
Yeah, this isn't working for me, whatever. It could be the filler in the drug, whatever. But it taught me a lot about how slow the process of change happens. And especially even when, after my surgery, the suicide and the depression, how slow the change came about of, I'm not having suicidal thoughts anymore. They're gone. And, I'm not, they're just gone. But it was such a slow process. And so I bring this up because people have been misinformed. They're not telling you the truth about what's happening to you psychologically from being locked in your caves. Your homes already were becoming an issue because of technology, and because you could order your food, you could shop, you could do everything. And if you worked from home, you could not leave the home really at all. You could work out at home, you could do everything at home. And so it was already becoming a problem. TV, the bigger the TV, the more the channels, just everything. And then boom, comes in COVID, and not just COVID, but object terror, fear of we're all going to die. We're all just going to die. And I remember in Oregon, that's when I lived back then, it was so weird to be walking on a trail. And back then they told you that it would linger in the air. So somebody could cough in front of me and it would linger in the air for up to 15 minutes. So that person could be gone and I could walk into the COVID stream and get it. So, they just had you terrified. And I remember walking on trails I used to walk on, and people would literally step away from me and turn their back to me when I walked by. Psychologically, what that did to us is horrid. We are human beings. Our social connections are more important than anything. It's what supports us as being human, and it's also what strengthens our immune system. Being a health and fitness expert, I did flip out when they started locking everything down, only because I know how important it is to work out, and I know how important it is to eat right, and I know what keeps our immune system strong, and knowing how complacent and lazy people have come because they don't understand what being on their phone all day is doing to them, watching TV all day is doing to them, eating sugar all day is doing to them, eating processed foods all day is doing to them. You know what I mean? Not moving around. It's made people lazy and not feel good, but it's adapted slowly over time. And then there's all these things that make it so that you don't have to ever leave your cave. Well, now you can't leave your cave, and all the things that brought you any type of happiness or joy, like going to the gym, best place for a person that's got depression because of the endorphins. Right?
Or working out outside, which we live on a golf course. And at the start, when they locked everything down, of course, they locked the golf courses down as well. But we went out there just walking. There's no golfers. I'm not going to get hit by a ball. And we went out there just walking on the golf cart path. And the staff came around and said, "Oh, you can't do this. You need," and I'm like, there's like literally nobody here. You're the only person that we see. And so even the going outside, and I'm in a condo, so I don't have a yard. So even the going outside kind of got restricted. And how do you get fresh air and sunshine?
Right. And that's huge. Thank gosh you lived in a place that had fresh air and sunshine, because I was in Oregon, which mental health and illness is huge there, because 9 months out of the year, you're stuck in the house in the rain and the mold. And, the old saying, they say Oregonians don't tan, they rust. And, it's true though. It's horrible. The weather is horrible, and it's very, very hard on people's mental health. And so I want to talk a little bit about Plato, because I used to study him quite a bit in my meditation times when I was teaching that. And I really, if you listen to his philosophy and the things he talked about, you can apply them to today, because what he was talking about are people that were stuck in these caves, and they've been in there so long that they started to use their imagination and create a world out of their shadow. They could see their shadows on the cave. And so they created an entire world out of their shadow. And when it came time to leave the cave, he couldn't get him to, even though he'd found the light, because they'd gotten so comfortable that they wouldn't. They thought that was life, and everything else was too scary and dangerous. Your brain is created for survival. And that's why they say as you age, if you don't take up new things and you don't, do new things, that your brain begins to lose energy because of diet, lack of water, a lot of things, a lot of different things, implicit memory. Our energy stores get lower and lower. So the brain starts to shut off areas that you just don't need anymore. And that's what happens. But also what happens is you become enclosed in your cave.
Comfortable.
Yeah, there it is. It makes you feel comfortable. It makes you feel safe. It makes you feel like you're okay.
I know what's in the cave, even though I've made it all up based on the shadows dancing on the wall when I light my fire, but I know it, and I don't know what's out there.
Exactly. And now, you don't need. So now what are the shadows? The shadows are TV, social media, the phone, the news, talk shows, I suppose. That's all shadows. It's not real. It's not, unless it's something educational or inspires you or does something for your heart. You know, you watch a movie and it's a true story and it inspires you to go write the book you've always wanted to write or whatever, then yes, then it's good. It served its purpose. And but if not, we're just wasting our time and our life away. And so many people are doing this and they're not even aware of what's happening to them because they're not even aware of how they feel every day
Well,
until
we have
something
so much
big.
time now at home that, you know, used to it's like you go to work all week and sometimes you watch just a stupid mind numbing show on TV just to have kind of that escape for a bit, escape the stress, kind of reset everything. So yeah,
Yes,
you watch
yes.
the 30-minute show once a week or what, like Zombies, Walking Dead. That's one of the few shows that I watch that isn't like, I love The Amazing Race where they're going around the world, you know, some of those. But The Walking Dead, I watch the zombies. Why? Because I didn't have to think for 30 minutes or an hour. But now, because we're home, we're doing so much more of that. And I think we've become numb to the fact of it being kind of a brain dead activity. I don't have to think, but now instead of not thinking an hour a week, it's like 2, 3, 4 hours a day. Sometimes, like, it just snowballs up on you and you don't even realize it.
Yeah, that's really great because no, I understand what you mean. Like, I didn't watch TV. We didn't even have a TV for like 15 years. And which is really tough at times, like after my surgery. But I just had this implicit memory where TV was just, I grew up in a household of primates. We've discussed this. And all they did was have the TV on 24/7. And I saw the waste and the things that happened in the mental illness and stuff. So I just kind of pegged it as um, I wouldn't allow myself to do things that weren't productive, which is really was out of balance. And I have had to find a balance so that I could relax and I could, like you said, just veg out and forget about something for a little while. And that's one of the great things about these things we have outside of us. And it's just, you know, the computer, just like the computer was one of the greatest things ever created when it's used right. It's all the greatest thing, but it's got to be used in balance. And you're right. And it's getting out of balance. And what's happening is, believe it or not, vegging out is a feeling, right? So that's a drug releasing in your brain. That everything you feel is a drug releasing in your brain. Your brain's going to start craving it. Your brain learns from you the cycles and the patterns and it needs a routine, right? So that it knows what to spit out next. The brain wants to know. It wants to know, you know, that's why when you change patterns, it can be a little uncomfortable because the brain waves have to change. And so what is happening, and then they have proven this, is that feeling you get from vegging out is you're starting to crave it more and more and more and more and more. And people aren't understanding what that is doing to them. And that is where the mental health imbalances are truly happening because we weren't meant to veg out for that many states. But I don't know if you remember, Vicki, when TV first came out, it was really like people were entranced. I don't know if you ever watched that movie I, Robot, where the robots would go to the TV to get downloaded on. Well, there's some truth to that. My son took an advertising class, and there is actually a lot of truth to that. Things they have hidden in there that you don't realize what they're doing. When now, if you're coherent, that's a different story, and you're present. But when you're not, when you're, you know, like that state you're in when you drive home and you go, I don't even remember driving home. That's the state you get in, to where you don't even know, you lose yourself completely.
And
That's when
only your subconscious is spinning and clicking and alive at that moment, kind of. And that's what we talk about with the whole intrinsic memory is the subconscious.
It's programming it all. Your subconscious doesn't know what's real and what's not. That's probably, I don't even like hearing that myself because, the movies that I do like to watch sometimes are, I don't know why, but I like serial killer movies. I don't know why. But, it's not really healthy for my subconscious to watch that stuff.
But maybe your subconscious needs it because it's processing something.
Yes, maybe, because I don't get freaked out. I don't watch scary stuff because that I can feel the anxiety. But you're right. So the brain dead drug is what people have got to start flushing out. The brain dead drug. And it's going to take work and it's going to take effort. But Aroma Freedom Clinic is here for you. And I have people coming to me, coming to my practitioners from all over for all different types of things. It all really leads to the same place, your unconscious. There's a magnitude of reasons why they come. Some come for their health. Some come to lose weight. Some come so that they can embed a pattern and take time to themselves without feeling guilty, especially these moms working at home now and with their kids. And now they find no time for themselves. And so Aroma Freedom Technique will help you with that so that you can actually do that without feeling guilt, shame, remorse, and all those things. People come for anxiety, depression, all kinds of different things, feeling stuck. Energy not moving is the worst feeling.
Well, and that's kind of what we've been stuck in the cave. And so really interesting, going back to that article I told you I read,
yes.
Talking about getting out of balance and about how the brain takes kind of a longer time, to learn.
Right.
The article I read looked at the aftermath of the 1918 Spanish flu pandemic, when so many people around the world died. Obviously, there weren't the same advances in medical care back then that there are now. But once they eased up on the need to quarantine and the pandemic was kind of playing itself out and things opened back up, they were looking at that same situation. They'd been in a cave. Of course, they didn't have things like television and, internet back then.
Right.
But they were still in a cave, and kind of the impact of having to come out of it and get back out into, the real world you're used to, and the process that takes. So it's not like quick, oh, everything's normal. It's not. The world may go back to functioning and moving like it did, but your brain is still gonna take a while to catch up because you've gotten out of balance way over this way. Then the interesting thing they noticed, that was 1918. It led up right around 1919, 1920, and you fall into the roaring 20s, because that coming out, what happens is the brain takes a long time and it comes over, but then you're pushing it and it makes it push too far the other way, and you become unbalanced that way. And so in the early 20s, people were more open, more partying, more promiscuous at that time, which is why it led to it being called the Roaring 20s. And they can tie some of that back to the aftermath of people being in that pandemic cave, coming out, taking a while to get going, and then kind of you consciously overcompensating because it's taken you too kind of longer to get there. Your subconscious is like catching up, so you keep pushing and pushing and pushing. You go too far the other way. So it was just an interesting article to read when we were talking about this today. And my thought reading that was, gee, I should ask Missy if there's a way that we can kind of maybe come out of the cave a little quicker and easier, that would keep us from overcompensating the other direction. And I'm sure you're going to say yes.
That's a great question, Vicki, and thank you for asking, because that leads me into the events and quite a few different things that I'm going to be rolling out with my wonderful marketing department. And we are going to be rolling out, I call it March Madness. And so I'm going to be rolling out quite a few different programs that are a couple weeks at a time, and so are the other practitioners, which I'll talk about here in a minute. And that's really what you need to do this gracefully and to do this properly. I would do 10 sessions of aroma freedom, and right now through March, we are running a great special, one that and we are doing this for the people, literally. We've had a long talking to other doctors, things that we can do to help people. And so in March, and only in the month of March, we are going to be offering 10 sessions at a price that you can't say no. Why? Because I'm going to use you for a study. No, I'm just kidding. Because it's going to help you.
Because you're the guinea pig. No, we already know it works.
We already have all the intel. We know it all works. Anyway, but we generally want to help you, and that's what it's going to take. Because what I found, the same thing with health and fitness, the first thing that people let go of is their health and fitness. They don't own their wellness. Wellness is like the last thing on your plate when things get tight or this or that. When that shouldn't be. But what's even more important now is aroma freedom technique and getting rid of the fight or flight state that you are all in.
Even if you don't know you are.
I
think I'm okay. I've worked from home for a while, but sometimes my husband will be like, I need to take you on a walk. Like I'm a puppy, he's like, you haven't been out in a few days. Come on, I need to take you on a walk. And so we go outside and move around and, go walk on the golf course, because I don't even notice that I haven't been out in a couple of days.
No, you don't. And everybody is. That's why, I laughed and shared my weight. I've always been one to do that because I can weigh so dang much. But it's the fight or flight that I'm in. That's really what it is. It's fight or flight. It's like being in high stress all the time, and you've just adapted to it. And it is unconscious. And that's why, like I said, I eat the same, I'm exercising the same, everything's the same. It really, unless I start exercising 4 hours a day, I don't see my weight moving. And that's just too obsessive for me to take that much time, first of all.
And they've already proven that the stress hormones can pack on weight. And even if you don't realize you're under stress, if your body and your subconscious thinks you are, it's there.
Of you. I don't know how much more to try and educate the American people. Part of the reason why you can't hear us is because of exactly what we're speaking of. They've proven that with obesity, your brain actually shrinks. I mean, so many things are happening to you. And like I said, you're brilliant people, you deserve more, reach for more. More is here, because it's not that hard when you make your well-being, your mental health, the most important thing in your life will change drastically. And the reason why I say your mental health is because that's the times we're in now, is getting your mental health back in balance, your brain and your mind, so that you can get out and be social again, and you can start making these changes to balance and restructure these chemicals and these habits that we've formed, like I said, in being in your cave. They have proven it. Have you ever read the story? I can't remember the name of it. But it's about an elephant that was tied up to, a pole, and he found a routine to survive. He'd go so many times to the right and then go halfway, but he found a routine to get through his day. And when they untied him from the pole, what do you think happened?
Yeah, I know this story. He kept walking the same path, just like he was still chained up. And he was free to go wherever he wanted and just didn't even realize it.
Yes, Heather brought up a great question about, how fight or flight is very sneaky. And unfortunately, many of us learn to adjust and live with it. And that is very, very true. And that's what we're talking about, is know that it's there, know that it's happening, know that it is happening to you. It it's happening to all of us and our children. Please, the rise in child suicide, grade school
Scary.
level,
Yeah.
58%. Come on, parents. Come on. Come on. Get well so that you can help your children get well. It starts with you, and be present. And when you get out of bed in the morning, drink water, place your feet on the ground, take some deep breaths, think about what's important to you and call Aroma Freedom Clinic so that we can help you and we can get you back on track and get you in balance. You will be amazed. Aroma Freedom Clinic, we offer the most advanced neuroscience when it comes to changing our implicit memories, which is our past emotional stored pain. And it gets rid of the energy that is still playing out in your brain from the incident. When you have stored implicit memory, it means your brain could not process the trauma, and trauma comes in all forms, shapes, and sizes. So anytime you didn't get your emotional needs met, and I'm talking anytime, it could have been, I'm telling you, they have proven, I think we talked about that, you're better off to have one big trauma than to have a bunch of little ones. And we're going through trauma every single day because we're not getting our emotional needs
every
met.
single day.
We are not. There is no way. That's why more and more people are drinking, because when you drink, you don't feel that unconscious pain. It's hard to give the unconscious, it's pain, but it's not pain. It's a very unique feeling, but it's just an uncomfortableness and you don't like it. And you don't even have that thought, but it's there. And that's what gets you to reach for drugs or drink or something, because it'll numb it out. And then life is good. You don't feel it. We can change. We're going to have to change. I believe that the American people can do this. We have to do this. We have to be proactive. We have to take control of our well-being, because I'll tell you what's going to happen next. They are going to roll out every drug you have ever seen or heard of in the next year to help you stay comfortable in your cave. Because see, people are going to start living and you're still going to be in fight or flight, and you're not going to be able to get yourself out the door because you have so much anxiety, depression, and all these other things you've been storing up. And now, oh, good God, let's give you this drug and that drug. And I'm all for Western medication. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for it. But I believe in taking Western medication while you're getting the why taken care of. Like, why did this manifest? That's why I believe Western medication's here. It gives us time to fix what is not balanced. And that's really all. Any sicknesses, whether it's here, or anywhere, it's an imbalance. So how are we going to get you out of the caves? Aroma Freedom Clinic, you can call us at any time. Anybody that calls and tells me how much weight they've gained and how stuck they feel is going to get a prize. You can call our office. You can find our number at aromafreedomclinic.com. You can go to our Facebook page. Getting out of the caves, I hope we understand that Aroma Freedom Clinic, 10 sessions, and we can get you out of there, get you feeling good, get rid of the fear. You know, what people say after having an Aroma Freedom session, it happens every single time. Their skin tone changes. So, stress, you don't realize, I don't know if you realize that stress is like taking your fist and putting it around your arteries and squeezing it as tight as you can. That's what stress does to your arteries. And that's why it causes so many problems, because with blood flow comes oxygen and everything the body needs. So you don't get that. So that's what stress does. So after one session, your stress is going to go from a 10 to a 0. So you're going to feel lighter. You're going to feel freer. We've just released a whole load of chemicals out of your brain that were draining your energy. And like I said, you weren't really even aware of it, but it's draining your energy because it's a negative energy, and a negative energy has to be fed to stay alive. So that's gone. So you have more energy, your color's back, the clench around your arteries is gone, You feel good. The reason why you came in is gone. I mean, I have people, their migraines are gone. I can breathe through my lungs. I couldn't before this. Oh my gosh. I feel the happiest I've ever been in my life. And the list goes on and on and on. And you know what? It's not BS. It's actual proven. It's backed by neuroscience. And if you've ever followed the psychotherapy world, which I have my entire life, you'll see that from Freud up, there was just a stack of people, or doctors, excuse me, creating something better, something better, something better. But they all piggybacked off of one another. And one of the greatest breakthroughs we had was when NLP came through. I actually became a therapist in neurolinguistics programming. It really was one of the best, don't you agree, breakthroughs. But they really were working at one memory at a time. And it didn't stick, obviously. And I thought back then, I'm going to be in here for the rest of my life and still not get them all, because you're hitting one memory at a time. But in that time era, it was the best. I mean, you could go in and they would get rid of the feeling. That's what they were able to do.
Very good when it came out. It
Right?
helped so in the shelter for homeless children, a lot of them who had been abused. And a lot of our counselors and psychologists used that on the kids, and it was just amazing. But yet, yeah,
we evolved.
We have better stuff now.
Yes. Then we went to EMDR, and they went into tapping, rapid eye movement, and I didn't do so well with those. I found them, I didn't do as well. I didn't really care for them. And then when I was looking for something more, aroma freedom technique is now the top on the list. The thing is, with any type of new treatment that comes out, it generally takes a decade for it to be accepted by the collective consciousness. So that's why we're trying to spread the word as fast as we can, because we don't have a decade. And you can start right now by calling Aroma Freedom Clinic, going to our website, aromafreedomclinic.com, our Facebook page, making a comment here. We can contact you. 10 sessions at a price that you will be very happy you called. And I guarantee my work 100%. I know people think I'm cocky when I say that, and I'm not cocky at all, because you know me. I guarantee my work 100% because it works every single time. Every single time. I've been helping people for 35 years in all aspects. I've probably worked with over 5,000 people. And I'll be honest, there's maybe one or two that it didn't work for, and I asked to leave my program, and I didn't work with them anymore because it just wasn't the right fit for them. They weren't ready for somebody to actually get them well. I'm not much of a BSer. When you come to me, we're going to get right to the point, and we're going to get well, and you're going to feel amazing. I am not a doctor. I'm not diagnosing anything, but I am telling you that aroma freedom technique is worth giving a try to. Do it now. Let's get you out of the caves, get you feeling better. We can do it now. I'm also a health and fitness guru. I've written books and all kinds of stuff. So I do have some programs coming up that are going to include fitness, because I have a unique way of working out that everybody loves, and we need it. And so much coming out. You really, really, really want to check out our website, like our Facebook page. I'm thinking Vicki and I maybe need to get a monthly newsletter or something going out, or subscribe, give us your email so that every time something new comes out, we can send you over an email, because there's just going to be so much coming out in March. Vicki's going to be very busy, very busy. Vicki Woo Marketing. Let me say it again, Vicki Woo Marketing, because she's going to be helping us roll this out to you. So social anxiety, we didn't touch on that, Vicki. We could probably touch on that just for a minute, because I've noticed it in my son, who is 21 years old, and he's an extremely social young man. I mean, he's got a YouTube channel. Preston is not shy. He's polite. He talks to everybody, but I notice it when it comes to something new. Total freeze. So check in with yourself. See how you feel when it comes to doing something new, like doing an aroma freedom session or taking a class. Give yourself a test and see if you're completely closed off and you freak out inside of, oh my God, I can't do it. There's one sure sign everybody can do, not something that you're comfortable with. No. You got to reach out of your comfort zone and be willing to take a course, or, if you're afraid to get up on stage and speak, get up on stage and speak. And not that you're not nervous, but it won't be a nervousness, it'll be an anxiety. There's a difference. When I was a fitness anchor on the Moore Show in Oregon. And when I go on TV, they used to tell me, Missy, it's not, it's excitement. That's what you're feeling inside of you. You're feeling excitement, right? And all this energy, because you're getting all excited. And when you're on TV, you have to be really animated. So you have to be really big. And so there's a difference between excitement and object terror.
And then there's everything in between as well.
Yes. And so give yourself that test, start visualizing, start working with Aroma Freedom Clinic so we can start giving you things that you can do so that you can start visualizing your life happening again. Life is beautiful when it's moving forward and you're moving in the stream of life. And when you're not moving in the stream of life, life is stuck, it's heavy, it's dense, and people aren't living their life and doing the things that they want to do. The first step is to take the step, understand that you are in fight or flight. We all are. And just like going to war, I've served in the military. It's when you come home that you feel everything. That's why kids in school after finals, they get the flu after, right? You're not going to feel the full fallout of COVID and the pandemic until it quiets down. And I don't foresee that happening anytime soon with what the news is doing, because I don't know what they're going to talk about if it's not COVID. Considering the election's over, COVID would be over. I guess then they'll go into the emotional things that we're experiencing. I don't know. But there are things that you can do now, today. Pick up the phone, make the decision. I don't want you to be one of the statistics that has an eating disorder, this, that. So many people are so depressed that they're too depressed to even pick up the phone to get help. And that is, I know what that feels like. But as I told you, remember the drug we talked about that's being released in the brain from being brain dead all the time. That's why it's hard enough when you're depressed to have the energy to pick up the phone. And now because of the brain dead drug, forget it. There's so many people locked in their house that are suffering profusely, and their parents are being terrible. I just had a young man tell me that he'd have to go outside in his car and cry because his mother was so terrible to him.
Because she's going through
exactly
all of it too. Yeah, he's going through it and she's going through it. Yeah.
Everybody's going through it, and you're taking it out on the ones you love the most and you don't mean to, and that's what's going on. We are living in a world of hurt, shall we say,
yep.
in more ways than not. Even if you watch this podcast, the replay, and you ask me a question, I might still give you that free gift. And I'm telling you, it's a good gift. The book is, well, the story in the book's worth $6,500. So how's that for you? All right.